we always pray about where to go the next weekend. We both have full-time jobs, so we thought Dumfries. So today's Dumfries. So we'll fly the flag and pray about where to go and hold people and so on. Just a few words about the party. It isn't a Christian party, but it has many. Its ethos chimes with Christians, as well as with Hindus and other faiths. It's very difficult in politics to communicate complex issues through a slogan. Okay, and there are a few three-word ones which are really important. Standing for life. That tends to chime with Christians, and that will actually be on the ballot paper, on the list vote. The other one that chimes with Christians is gratitude, not resentment. We've all got a choice. Are we wanting to be a Cain or an Abel? And we draw support from across the political spectrum, left and right, but people who have a gratitude and don't start from a position of resentment. But the one that chimes with everybody, I find, is evidence, not ideology. And Gareth and I were actually in Buchanan Street, Glasgow, yesterday, just in the street, and there's a real change since the last election 2 years ago, because we still get a bit of abuse because there's lots of misinformation about us and so on. We raise difficult issues, which we have to raise very sensitively. But the really interesting thing is the young men in the street were drawn in and wanted to talk about the lack of discipline in schools. They thought that was a huge problem, okay? And the young women were drawn in because of our stance on abortion. Not because they agreed with us, because they were just really bemused. Why would anybody question abortion? Because they've been taught it is a clump of cells and it's their human right and so on. So the interesting thing is, and I'll end there, is that the support that we're getting is highest among the under 30-year-olds and the over 60-year-olds. So that's really encouraging. Now, we think that about 8% of people in Scotland more or less agree with our values. The problem is they won't vote for us because they will instead vote for a candidate or a party whose policies they disagree with in order to stop another candidate or party whose policies they also disagree with from getting in. Okay, and my plea on this is that under the formula for the list vote, it only takes, for a small party, under the modified D'Hondt formula, between 6 and 8%, and you get a candidate. And so we're just trying to get one MSP who will respectfully ensure that difficult issues are not just passed through without a debate, but there's a discussion, political persuasion can go on. Can I just say one more thing about covenanters? Okay, I'm amazed that you mentioned that because my family comes from Craigmoy near Monialive, and my grandfather worked at the Crichton in the First World War. But our family history includes Covenanters who were imprisoned on the Bass Rock. It was the first concentration camp in Europe, the Bass Rock. So I've got all the documents, I've got an old Bible and all these things, and I've never yet had time to go through it all. But you've encouraged me to get into that because it's something that's very important to me, that link. So it's an extra bonus to be here today to be reminded of that. So thank you very much.